Greetings, welcome to video number 2 in my multi-part video series about the Toastmasters International Humorous Speech Contest. If you are someone who is competing or thinking about competing maybe in a future humorous speech contest, this video series is for you. Welcome again. My name is Roquita Johnson. I am a certified world-class speaking coach, a speaker, trainer, and author, and I am a past Toastmasters District 46 to be exact, humorous contest speech winner. So I love this contest and I'm excited to talk about this topic. Today's topic is going to focus on what makes your speech funny. What makes it funny? The first thing I want you to remember is do not force the funny. Let me say that again. Do not force the funny. The humor is already there in your speech. Believe it or not, it is there. You simply need to uncover it. You need to bring it to light for your audience. Well, how do you do that, you might ask? Well, let's talk about the first way that you can do that. Dialogue. When you are telling a story, there is almost always dialogue that is happening, a conversation that is happening between people. And often what is said is what I would call humor gold. It is gold in humor form. Think about conversations that you yourself may have had lately with anybody, friends, family members, maybe a clerk at the grocery store. I bet at least during any of those conversations, there was something funny, something humorous that was said. And it wasn't that you had to force the funny. It was just something funny that was said. Don't ignore or overlook those conversations that really happen in that real life experience, that story that you want to tell in your humorous speech. Oftentimes people will bring up other details about that experience, but they'll leave out the conversations. Conversations, besides bringing humor, they also pump life into your speech. They help us to see the characters, to hear the characters. We get an insight into who they are, how they think. So you don't want to leave out conversations. Dialogue is very important, and that is a great, rich source of humor that you will find that you need to include in your stories. Now let's talk about delivery. The way you deliver your speech has a major impact when it comes to humor. Take, for example, how we just talked about dialogue. How did that person's face look when they told you their big news? Facial expressions have the power to elicit a lot of laughter. Were they shocked? Were they scared? Use your face. How do the characters speak? Do they speak in a very measured tone, like the professor in my winning speech? Do they have a high-pitched voice, or do they have a gruff voice? Vocal variety is important in any speech, and even more so important in a humorous contest speech. And it is not about making fun of anyone, of any of our characters. It's more so taking them and exaggerating a bit, exaggerating the facial expressions that they really made, exaggerating how their voice has come across. How people sound, their facial expressions, these are all things that really happen. We, again, are just uncovering it, bringing it to light for our audience. What mannerisms do the characters have? Are they very animated? Do they use their hands a lot when they speak? Is their posture very professional? These are all things for you to think about when it comes to dialogue in your humorous speech. And lastly, when it comes to delivery, pauses. A well-timed pause is very powerful when it comes to humor. I especially love the pauses that throw the audience off. These are the pauses that you use that makes the audience think you're going in one direction and then you unexpectedly take them in another. One of my favorite examples of this is by the speaker Craig Valentine. He once gave a speech where he used this type of pause that threw the audience off. He starts off his speech by saying, "Many years ago, when I was in prison," pause, "giving a speech to the inmates." You see, you thought he was going in a totally different direction, that he himself was the one in prison, and that was actually not the case. So when you're thinking about, well, how do I make my speech funny? Think about the dialogue, the conversations that were actually had during your experience or the situation, the story that you will tell. Think about the delivery, vocal variety, mannerisms, facial expressions, and then think about well-placed pauses. All three of these will take you a long way when it comes to the funny factor with your humorous contest speech.